Welcome back to Montreal Connected. Miguel Cabrera signed an 8-year extension with the Detroit Tigers worth almost $250 million. That's right, with a B. Joining me now to discuss is Stephen Brunt. Now, Stephen, let's start with the obvious. Why so much money?
Well, it's an extraordinary amount of money, but there's several factors, I guess, that play into this. One is that Cabrera is the best player in baseball, the best hitter in baseball, the best player in baseball. You could argue that he's one of the greatest right-handed hitters of all time. So his value in terms of his baseball value is established, and he is in the prime of his career. That's part of it. Part of it is you've got a sport that doesn't have a salary cap, unlike the National Hockey League or the NBA or the NFL, where teams can only spend a certain amount. You can spend as much as you want. So that's part of it. And part of it is the Detroit Tigers and their own particular dynamic with their owner, Mike Ilitch. They love Cabrera. He's a guy is very comfortable in Detroit. He's been a star for Detroit. And Mike Ilitch is 84 years old. He's trying to win a World Series.
Well, it's obvious they love him if they're going to blow the budget on him. Is he actually worth that much money, do you think?
Well, that's, then we get into semantics, right? Is he worth? He's worth what he's worth it because someone is willing to pay him that amount of money. And I think that's the only way you can measure it. They are going to be paying for years late in his career when he might not be quite the same player, but that's the way it goes in baseball. We've seen a lot of long-term deals in baseball where the back end of the contract might not justify the amount of money. But in terms of his, as a baseball player, if you're going to talk about the most money going to the best player in the game, yeah, he is worth that money.
Well, now the top 5 largest contracts in sports now belong to MLB players. Is this simply just the cost of doing business in baseball?
Well, that's part of it. It is, you do have more of a free market in baseball, again, because it's cap-free. But the other thing is, the money doesn't come from nowhere. This isn't charity. There's a lot of money in Major League Baseball right now. And that might surprise people. You look at even some of the stadiums on opening day where there are empty seats, and you say, wow, if the stadiums aren't full for every game, how can there be that much money in the system? But the value of that 162-game schedule, all of those games, all of those hours, all of that inventory for television and for new media. Baseball's an old game. It's a 19th century game, but it has exploited 21st century media better than any other sport. And there is a tremendous amount of money kicking around in the system right now, more than there has ever been.
We'll join you again next week. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Kelly.